Now, do you have any state records? Did you have any state appearances in track?
I ran
And what events?
the long jump in the 120
He was also a decathlon.
hurdles.
Yeah.
I won the decathlon.
Decathlon.
Yeah, I won the decathlon as a sophomore. Then junior year, his uncle beat me.
But here's the thing: you were setting the bar for everybody to come. You know what I mean? So you got to look at it that way.
Yeah, but I mean, like I say, his uncle beat me. But I mean, like, if you know what the decathlon is, like, I think I had 6,450 points. He had 6,500 points. Yeah.
My goodness.
So what did you do after college?
What did I do after college? Well, like I said, I became a football track coach at Elyria High, and I worked for a wine distributor in Maple Heights in the warehouse.
So after college, it brought you back home. What was your major? Sports.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you could say physical education.
Okay. PE. Yeah. Well, so that feeling, because that was your first time leaving Elyria. So we're talking about your college days. So after you graduated, you went up to Michigan. How was that transition? How was that experience for you?
You know,
Because it's not
this is
Elyria.
now we talk about racism and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I am quite sure you don't know anything about Centerville, Michigan. Well, it is a little hick town, okay, and that's where Glen Oaks, because that's where I went to school, Glen Oaks, which was in Centerville, Michigan, and our coach was Coach Garnett. He taught, and he had quite a few blacks that he had recruited up there. He called us all in,
All together.
all the blacks in, and let us know it was not a wise thing to go out in the area. But the thing was, but Three Rivers, Michigan, which was like 9 miles from Grand Valley, from Glen Oaks, and I mean, it was like Elyria.
More diverse.
Well, there was quite a few blacks in Three Rivers. So we went, we would go to Three Rivers, and they had nice looking ladies.
Yeah, that's where y'all would go. Yeah.
Yeah. So we got ran out of well, we was going to the bar. I guess it was the bar. I think it was the bar. And I remember Paul Brown. I don't know if you know Paul Brown. He went to Glen Oaks. Bill Jackson, which Bill Jackson's past. He was on the basketball team. Some of the guys from Grand Rapids, like Eric Posey and Melvin Brown, we all went to this place, and we go to the door. The man look at us, says, "Y'all can't come in here." And, we gonna say, "What you mean you can't come in here?" So words pass. Next thing you know, the guy came on with his pistol, and
Wow.
we took off.
Wow.
Yeah.
Solely because you guys are black.
And we let our coaches know what happened. And so I know that they contacted their mom. I mean, but we never went back there.
Nothing came about it.
No. Yeah. So
Dad, how after your college days, is that when you went to the service, or
yeah.
you served in Vietnam, right?
Yeah.
What branch?
9th Infantry Division, Army, 9th Infantry Division, 2nd of the 60th Infantry. Yeah.
So this was after college?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So were you drafted or did you enlist?
I was drafted.
Drafted in, man. So that transition from college to sports, all of a sudden you're in the jungle.
And then you talk about racism. Now that's when we seen it. I mean, in service in Vietnam, you even seen it in Vietnam, believe it or not. But it's,
Racism from your superiors within your
you seen it from your superiors, all the way, even some of the guys that was in the
your platoon.
in your barracks with you. Yeah,
Mm.
Yeah.
And how long did you do over in Nam?
I was over there 11 months.
11. Ooh.
I was in the Mekong Delta, in swampland.
What was your job?
I was infantry.
Ooh, wow. Wow, that's rough. And when you came back home, because I know that war in particular was an unpopular war with the country.
When you came back home, you was called baby killers and you spit on and all that.
Yep. So that's another
Yeah,
dynamic
too
that you
bad.
guys had to face
Yeah.
when you guys came back home. On top of you being black, you still got to deal with that.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, we talked to some Vietnam veterans, and they talk about how it wasn't nice.
No, it wasn't.
Speaking of just different world events, when you were in school, we talk about when President Kennedy was shot. What was the energy like then when President Kennedy got shot?
I can remember that. I think it was in the 8th grade then, and they closed. They when it came over the radio and all that, they let us all out of school. And I remember the teacher was Miss Reinhardt. I think she was an English teacher, and I remember seeing her say, "Oh my God," and she started crying. And that's when they dismissed us and let us go home.
So you were at Franklin.
Yeah.
When that happened. Then you, that was 63. So we're talking 5 years later. That's when Dr. King got shot.
I was a senior then.
And so what was the energy for black folks then? Because he really was a voice for the black community at that time. So what was the vibe here in Elyria like?
Angry.
Okay.
Angry.
Okay, yep. And another huge event locally for Elyria was the riots in '75. What can you tell us about that? With Daryl.
Daryl Maxwell. He, I think he was trying to rob a place, and he had climbed, and he was trying to escape. He had climbed up on top of the roof because the policeman came and they caught him, and I guess he was trying to get away, and he was on top of the roof, and they told him to halt, and he didn't, and they shot him and killed him.
And then the city
and then
kind of turned up then.
And then, so that's funny is Ike Maxwell's brother.
That's his brother.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was bad. I mean, the state troopers had to come in.
And you said you were at the scene. So, I mean, did you feel safe? Did you feel angry? What was your emotions or the neighborhood's emotions, the community?
We were very upset and didn't understand it. And I guess the reason we are derised because, I mean, I don't understand why. We didn't understand why they shot him and killed him. I mean, yeah, he was wrong, but I mean, he didn't have a weapon or anything, and but they shot him.
Mm-hmm.
Was the community divided? Did you feel like it was divided from like people taking the police's side and then people taking like his side?
It was divided, yes, and that's why it was a riot.
The tension.
Yeah.
So and we always say, man, the North gets this weird pass that racism just didn't exist up here, and and the South always got pounced on and saying those white Southerners, they're the racist people. But a lot of times when black folks, and we're talking about the Great Migration, when they came up, they found out it's a different cut of racism up here, and at that time when black folks were down south, white people can say, look at those Southerners. why y'all treating like that? Because at the time they weren't living by black folks. Then when black folks started coming up, you found out how racist you were.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, and I remember Dr. King spoke about it when he came to Illinois, in Chicago. He said he's been through Selma and all that. He said he's never seen racism like this. This was in Illinois, and he wasn't down south when he said that.
What? I was gonna add something in a second when you're done. So with all the traveling and obviously the places you've been through the military and even going away to college, what made you want to come back and like have your life be lived here in Elyria?
This is home, and I just felt that it was my obligation to come back home, and you know I wanted to work with the young black kids more than anything, and that's what got me back here. And,
did you have any, my apologies if you've already said it, but did you have any family that still was back home in the South, in any of the areas?
yes. Like I said, my dad did take me back to Saluda for, I remember family reunion, and it was in Saluda, and then also family. I to this day that was years ago. I also had family in Washington D.C.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I remember going there, and it was D Street in D.C.
Growing up, who was one or any people that you looked up to?
Well, back then, Isaac Chapman was.
Wow.
He was the black leader.
Okay. And you really idolize on how he handled business.
Yes. Isaac Chapman he was the man.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And what do you feel that he did for the black community?
And I mean, if you got mistreated in any kind of way, Mr. Chapman was the person you went to see, or let it be known that it just happened. You know, he was the president of NAACP at the time. Yeah, for years.
And he grew up on Middle Avenue. I mean, he lived on Middle Avenue.
Yes.
Jerry Gadget. I just heard that name. I know Muhammad. You was a huge Muhammad Ali fan, and I know my middle name was my first name based on.
Yes.
Okay, I never knew that.
Yes.
So wait,
So you named him after Isaac Chapman.
Oh, Mr. Chapman. Yeah, Mr. Chapman was something. He was from Louisiana, man, and he was a pillar in the black community.
Yes, he was.
He was a councilman too, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He was a councilman. He grew up. His house was on Middle Avenue. I heard he was not. He was a bulldog.
Yeah, he was.
If you mess with black folks, Mr. Chapman was coming.
Yeah.
And the city knew.
And Jerry Gilbert and the Gilberts, he was married to Barbara Gilbert, which was Ann Gilbert. I can't remember all the Gilbert girls.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Jerry Gilbert. The Gilbert boys play basketball, play sports. Yeah.
What have you seen the community change from when you were growing up to now? And what do you think the changes? What contributes to those changes? I'm sure. I mean, I know it's changed.
Yeah, it's changed. It's changed. It's hard to say when you ask me how. You know, like I say, I think back of the teachers. Mr. Hewitt, Mr. Mondorf, Mr. Hollett, Marvin Gray. I mean, in a way, those guys, they were white men, but they were like father figures.
So the South Side pride. I mean, was that a thing that you guys really prideful as far as?
To this day, that South Side thing, yeah.
So along with the pride, I know you mentioned like a couple of the like guys that were like father figures. Do you feel like, so I always say like with the youth is kind of missing today with like that having that those older people looking out for them. Do you feel like you had that growing up where you could go outside and your neighbor was like kind of checking on you or just looking out to see where you were going or when you were coming back home?
I can honestly say back when we were growing up as teenagers and young kids, it was really like a village raised family. It really was like that. I mean, if I did something that I didn't have no business doing,
You heard it from a lot of people.
yes, yes,
Is that something you think is missing today?
yes.
Mm.
When I ask you how you think that it would be, like how we get that back, what are your like opinions on what you think we do to make the youth feel that again?
You can't say if little Johnny did something, you can say, oh no, my little Johnny didn't do that.
Mm.
You know, that's pretty much how it is now.
You're right.
You can't tell a person about what their child did without them getting defensive about it.
Exactly.
And that, I mean, you grew up with my mother, my uncles and stuff.
Yes.
So I hear about just on how special that time was, and I think that was a special time for Elyria. And as far as you guys' generation and
I spent a lot of time with
my mom.
your mom, them, and Mr. Nelson's right next to
Nelson's,
Yes.
that's my family. That's my dad's side.
Right.
Mhm.
Yes.
How did you meet your wife?
How did I meet my wife? Betty Jo was she was a nurse. But how I met Betty Jo, I was her son's coach. Lamar Jackson, Harrison Jackson, Terry Lee Jackson, that was her sons.
Oh, so you coached the
I was
boys.
head coach.
Okay.
And she went, and that's she would go to the games, and then I would see her at some of the clubs downtown area, and we would talk about the games, and one thing led to the other.
What were the night spots in Elyria?
I was about to ask that.
There's the Red Fox, Campbell's Lounge, and Hollywood 9000. That's for the blacks.
No, where was that at?
You know, on Broad Street.
Hollywood was?
Hollywood was. Burger King would have been across the street from there.
No, okay.
Hollywood 1000 was across the street. That's where it was at. And then there was Red Fox was like down maybe a half a block. And
Everything on Broad.
yes.
So when you got back from the military, police profiling, that's what Rachel mentioned?
Talked about that when we did your first interview. About
You was getting
you
profiled?
said you were like hanging out in your driveway with some friends or something. The police pulled up on you guys.
I was home from Vietnam. It was on 15th Street, right down the street. On 15th Street, you know where there's the light there on 15th Street. Well, maybe 4 houses down where the mining crews live. We was having a party, and we, like I say, I came home from Vietnam. I was home from Vietnam, and hadn't seen a lot of my friends. We were standing outside, just talking, kicking, laughing and talking, and just seen the police car when it turned at the light, went down, turned around, came back up, pulled up, and then they got out. An officer says, "What's the problem, boys?" Well, like I say, I just come home from Vietnam, and I say to one of my friends, I said, "Oh, that's what they call us now, boys." And he says, watch your mouth. I said, all I said was, I got a name. And I said, watch your mouth. I said, and I'm not talking here. I'm talking. I said, wow, man, is that how it is now? He said, I said, watch your mouth. Or you going to jail. I said, oh, you put people in jail just for talking? Next thing I know, they had me,
They had you handed up?
and grabbed me and was trying to shove me in the car. So I'm still talking, and the cop in the back of the, I'm sitting in the back of the car, and he says, I'm running my mouth, and he takes his pistol out, and he turns, and he's holding the barrel. He says, you say another word, I'll bust you in your mouth. Well, I didn't say nothing else.
Wow.
But they took me downtown. But meantime, some of my friends, they seen it, and they acted a fool. They sort of damaged the police cars, and but that's Isaac Chapman, and they got contacted, and they had charged me with disorderly conduct, and I had to go to court. It was a trial. I was acquitted of it behind Mr. Chapman. I mean, because he got really behind it.
Wow. Yeah. And again, so that's that dynamic. You just got back from fighting for this country, from war, hanging out with your dudes. All of a sudden, the police just come rolling up, pretty much just antagonizing. And you being younger, we're gonna talk back, especially when we know we didn't do anything. So what's the situation here? So then we had Mr. Ike Chapman come in and handle business.
Yes, he did.
So, what would you like to see out of the black community now in Elyria and Elyria as a whole? What would you like to see?
I can honestly say, it's not that. I mean, that's me saying. I don't know what the young people say. I don't think it's that bad anymore. No, it seems as though the kids respect the teachers they have, because I still talk to some of the young kids. I don't hear too much of negative things about the teachers or anything like that. I don't think it's not that bad.
So you like the direction where the black community is going right now, as far as Elyria, and what about the city of the whole? What would you like to see out of Elyria? Just keep on moving.
Just keep on moving forward. I like I say, I don't see it being that bad. There's gonna be prejudice. It's just how it is. But I mean, it's not overly excessive.
So you said that you obviously had someone like Isaac Chapman. Do you think the kids and the youth today feel like they have someone like that? Do you feel like there's someone like prominent in Elyria that is the kid's voice?
The person that I would say now is similar to Isaac Chapman, Eric.
Yeah. Eric falls on a lot of swords for a lot of people.
Yeah.
He does. Modern day Isaac Chapman.
Yeah. My name is Timothy Alfred Johnson, and I still live in Elyria. Proudly live in Elyria.